Rapid crime forces another grocery store closure in San Francisco. So surprised.
Fillmore District, San Francisco, Safeway. It's closing. Now, this store has been in play for closing for like over a year. They said, we're going to close it down. Community went into this big uproar. But now Safeway is...
It doesn't matter if the community goes into an uproar. If it's not worth the money, if it's not worth the brand risk, then they're going to shut it down. This is kind of a hot take, but it's the community's fault, 100%. You reap what you sow, and yeah. I'm not saying it's everyone's fault. It's a community as a whole's fault.
Literally citing theft and safety. It's an interesting switch up from, we'd love to keep the store open, but because of development of the site, we've just got to close it. We'd love to continue serving the community, but instead they're going, yep, we're getting robbed blind. We're shutting her down.
Obviously.
It's not safe to have a Safeway in the Fillmore District in San Francisco anymore. Let's get into it. Here we go. You're wondering where this is? All right, here you've got the Tenderloin, which...
That's not a good area in San Francisco. So the funny thing is it's called the Tenderloin, which is like usually like the most delicious, most expensive part of like meat. But in San Francisco, it's the bad part.
Google no longer indicates on the map. If you take away the name from the map, the Tenderloin goes away. Yeah. So it is to the west of that. It's in the Fillmore District. There's Pacific Heights right there. So that kind of gives you an idea. Let me go out just one more here.
Gary Boulevard.
Where it is. This store is being robbed blind to the tune of about $7,000 a day.
A day? $7,000 a day? Dude, that's so much.
$7,000.
They're probably not even profitable.
Whether or not there's development on this site, all that ridiculousness, you've got some real issues going on that are not.
And the thing is, like, who does this hurt? Like the grocery stores closing down, Walmart closing down. Those things disproportionately affect the people that have the least amount of money. Because the people that have more money can afford to either have their stuff shipped in, they can afford to go across the bridge and shop somewhere nice like a Whole Foods, or they can afford to pay for the price increases from purchasing local. They don't give a shit if they have a lot of money. This, again, disproportionately hurts the poor.
Not going to be solved over.
And all of these people, they care so much, they quote unquote care so much about the poor, and like they do things that affect them.
Overnight. Let's watch a quick video here.
The Reynolds Safeway in San Francisco will close nearly a year after city leaders push to keep it open. Safeway says it's...
push to keep it open how? Please stay open, please.
Location near Gary Boulevard and Webster Street will close due to issues with safety and theft. Kront 4's Will Tran has more.
The Safeway Fillmore area will soon be no more. Come February 7th, we know that's the final day for this store. After 40 years in business, that's the finish line. They will turn off the lights and close the doors forever. They actually wanted to close this 11 months ago, but the city and the community pushed hard for Safeway to continue, and that's...
Yeah, but like push hard how? Like, please stay open. Like, we're begging you, stay open. Like, what do you mean by that?
It's when they sign an extra lease to go on as long as...
Probably gave them some kind of tax cuts or something. Like, maybe, I don't know.
They are, but next year, in less than 2 months, it will be over. Let me show you some images inside.
All those jobs are gone now, and now people's livelihoods is affected because all of the prices of their goods just went up, just skyrocketed.
That we got earlier this morning.
The cost of obtaining everyday food just went up for all of the people that live in this area. Whether that's having to drive somewhere and spending the gas money, having to get stuff delivered, it all went up drastically because of this.
Safeway has mentioned the safety of its employees and just theft that is out of control. Look at these images. Inside at this one particular area, you see 3 security guards inside. I saw actually 2 more outside just to keep a close eye on the shoppers. And then if you go through a line, forget about self-checkout. They removed that several months ago because
self-checkout only works in a community where there's high trust and high societal trust, basically.
It just wasn't stopping anybody. The honor system was not working. So now if a cashier...
I hate self-checkout, by the way. Self-checkout is like the worst shit. I hate it.
...is not there, the gate is closed. It's open, of course, when you go...
By the way, some of the strictest gun laws in this city, if you were wondering.
Through and pay, then the gate is open. So lots of problems for Safeway, and Safeway in the end said it simply was not worth it for them
I hate it because it always takes longer
to continue. But
yeah, so interesting thing. So where I used to live, again, I said I used to live on like the edge of the countryside. They had like a farm, and you could go to that farm and buy vegetables and meat. And the way it worked is you walked into the farmhouse, and the farmhouse had all the vegetables that they had pulled up for the day. They would be in barrels. And then you basically, there was a scale on the counter, and there was a fucking cash register there. And you did it yourself. You basically opened the cash register yourself, and you weighed the food yourself, and then you paid for it. You just put your money in there, and then you took change if you needed it, and you left it there. It was like a 100% honor system. There was nobody working there. Yeah, it worked fine. It worked fine because like people that live in the countryside are they're not going to steal your shit typically. What do you mean you can't do that in America? I did that in California, Tazito. I was literally in California, but I was in the countryside in California. Not anymore. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they still do that.
left in the wake of all this is the community, of course.
It's not uncommon in rural areas in the United States, says Shy Mouth. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Exactly what Shy said. It's just a different culture. High trust society. Like where I live, people don't have fences. You know, like you have fences around your house and stuff like that. There's no fences. People don't have it. Like there are a couple people that have fences, but not that many people have fences.
I mean, it's going to create a food desert. And it really is a community institution that I'm just very disappointed that
the trust gets lower as population density increases. That's not 100% true. It's a 100% cultural because Japan has the same shit in the cities. I literally just watched the video about how iPhone store, like Apple stores in Japan, have the actual phones on display and they're not chained down. You can literally pick them up and like walk around with them and look at them.
there is not.
Japan is taught differently. Again, it's cultural. It's a cultural issue, Tazuto. This is 100% a cultural issue. It's not an issue of the amount of people. It's not an issue of population density. It's very obviously a cultural issue. Chibi Mana says, I lived in Watermelon County in Louisiana. Farmers usually leave their melons out in front of their house and you pay for what you want for the melons. You kind of just whatever you want to give. And if they aren't going to the farmer's market. Yeah, exactly. This is all a cultural issue. And for the sake of being politically correct, we refuse to talk about it as such. It is 100% a cultural issue in America. And the thing is America doesn't have a homogeneous culture because we don't expect people to become a part of American culture. So that's the reason why this kind of thing exists in certain places in America and not in other places, is because our culture is not the same for each place. And because issues of political correctness, you're not even allowed to point out that a culture is bad. When it's very easy to understand, if you think about it for more than 1 second, you intuitively know that cultures can be worse than other cultures.
Better efforts underway to save this.
You've already had a year there, Sparky. You voted in the politicians that created the laws that allowed people to basically rob stores like this blind. And so then when you go, why aren't we doing more to keep this open? Well, this is what you wanted, and this is what you get. You get a food desert. That is exactly what happens when corporate realizes, oh, yeah, we've got safety concerns and we're not making money. And this
people will be quick to blame the companies for this. It is not the company's fault at all. It's not their responsibility. It's not the company's responsibility to basically deal with all of this bullshit.
Site is going to be developed. Shut her down. Shut her down. And that is why Safeway on this one, they literally blanket.
People steal for one of two reasons: for sheer desperation, or they think they can get away with it, says Tazuto. I don't think that the case of number one is actually that common. I don't have any evidence of this. I'm sure I could look it up. This is mostly a vibe check. I really don't think that number one is the case. The way I know this is true is because a lot of times people are stealing things that they don't need.
This closing with safety concerns, even though we've known about it.
Plenty of food banks if you're hungry and can't afford food. It's true. Yeah, you could do that. A lot of these places, they do have robust welfare, right? Usually stealing things that they don't need for what they can sell for what they need cash. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't make it a good thing. And again, in the case of number 2, that's obviously a bad thing.
For a year, I podcasted on this just about with safety concerns. Even though we've known about it for a year, I podcasted on this I think it was about a year ago. Hey, this is going to be closed down. The community got all worked up, and we're going to be left in a food desert, meaning there's just no food around for, blocks and blocks and blocks. And that does suck. But you brought this on yourselves.
100% agree with this guy that for again, society as a whole, I'm not blaming individual people, because obviously there are individual people that are fed up with this shit and they think that it's bad. But then again, at least on a local level, majority gets to make the call on that. So in that case, it is the society, it's the actual community as a whole. It's their fault. That doesn't mean it's the individual's fault. But yes, I 100% agree with this guy.
So keep voting for those politicians who have the soft on crime approach.
Which is exactly why. Because you vote for this kind of thing, you reap what you sow, basically.
And I'm sure it'll just work out, right? Let's finish out this video.
Community institution, because it's going to leave a lot of low-income people, seniors, and families without a place to go for what we need.
And that is the collateral damage that happens to every single...
Shai says, so the only nuance I would like to add to this is the local community, the one that's very close to the store, may not have brought this to themselves, but others nearby might have brought this to them. That is true. That's kind of what, sorry, when I meant the community, I meant basically the greater community. I'm not talking about a small town. I'm talking about a county/city level, right? It's basically that. I don't mean obviously a very local group.
Single time you've got a store in a community that is known to be just ripped off left and right.
I think it's a combination. Ragnar says it's a state level, kind of, but I think it's also related to culture.
Left and right. Corporate shuts it down. And then you got all these folks. Why did this happen? Well, it's a little thing called corporate profit. And when they don't have it, they're going to close the store down. And when their store employees and their store customers, and we're going to read about this in a second, when you've got all these incidents of just, whacked out drug addicts, criminals, just... basically a criminal element coming in through and robbing your store blind, and security guards can't really do much about it, and you don't have enough police to police the area. Plus,
I really don't, Alki says, I really don't think, they brought it to themselves is really a great thing to say, even if it's 100% true, which I don't think it is. It's still bad that you shouldn't be using the opportunity to say I told you so. Actually, I actually think the opposite. I think it's 100%. It's 100% an I told you so situation, because people need to be informed that it's their decisions that are causing this problem. Because if you keep deferring responsibility further and further down, nothing will ever get fixed. At some level, somebody has to be they have to understand that this is a result of the things that a lot of people are believing in, right? Whether it's just this specific local community or the greater community as a whole, the city, county level, right?
Stealing underneath $950, when you've got that.
And even then, at this point, they should be protesting this shit to their city halls. These actual people should be protesting this at city hall.
Going on, there's no pushback to any of this happening. So this is the drill. So if you enjoy this happening in your community, keep voting for those progressive politicians, because I'm sure it'll work out. I'm sure it'll work out for you.
A big inconvenience for a lot of people. Up in here.
How so?
Throughout the community. Because you have elder, you have disabled people. And as far as me, I got to go way to market and shop or Lucky's or somewhere. But we don't have a Safeway in Fillmore.
So without this Safeway, the nearest Safeway is about a mile to a mile and a half from this location in the Castro district. And a lot of people simply cannot go there for whatever reason, simply too far for them. But
Eric Turbo says California is controlled by a supermajority, and even if they blame the minority party for everything bad that happens. I mean, the thing is why do they have a supermajority? They have a supermajority because people are voting for them. It's the reason why a lot of people are leaving California. It's the reason why California is trying to create a exit tax. Because of the amount of people leaving California. And who's leaving California, by the way? It's going to be a lot of the people that's easier for them to move. That's not to say you should stay there if you're low income. Obviously, you should try to get out. Exit taxing is illegal. Yeah, I mean, but you think that's going to stop them from trying? Do you know how many things they try to do that are unconstitutional in California, and then they let it get tied up in court? That's what they do. They throw it to the courts, and then the courts are like, this is unconstitutional, and then the California courts, they appeal it all the way fucking up, as far as they can go, and then they drag their feet on it, ask for extensions. They basically create these like unconstitutional laws, and then they let it sit there as long as they can. Yeah, they don't give a fuck. And the thing is they're gonna keep having power because people keep voting for them, right? And again, like, that's why so many people are leaving. And who's leaving first? It's all the people that have the money to comfortably and easily move. And again, I'm not saying that if you can't comfortably move, that's a reason to stay in California. Like, I keep telling people this, guys. Like, I keep saying this. If you live in one of these shithole places and you're a young person, you don't have any ties in your city, you need to get the fuck out as soon as possible, because California, New York, these places will keep you in the tutorial of life forever. That's how they roll. They keep you in the tutorial, they keep you sucking, and then you're just gonna experience like the same bullshit forever. Like, a house in California is gonna cost you, like, at the very minimum, like $600,000. And like in your average place, like in Los Angeles. In Texas, you can buy a house for $160,000. Brand new home, $160,000, fiber internet, you can get that for $160,000. You need to get out. This is like, honestly, like, if you listen to any advice I have to tell you, you need to get the fuck out of California if you live there, because they are taxing you to shit. Everything's expensive because gas is expensive there. They tax you so many ways in California. They fuck you sideways in California in terms of taxes. And then, like, they tax businesses. And then you're like, oh, they're just taxing the businesses. Like, whatever. Like, that's not me. Where do you think the businesses, what do you think they do when they get taxed? They increase the prices of things because it's a cost of doing business. I'm just saying, like, I wish I moved out of California sooner. That's all I'm going to say. And I don't want you to have the same regrets that I do. So I'm telling you, like, you need to get out of the tutorial as soon as possible. And sometimes that involves, like, literally, like, a little bit of suffering, like saving your money and then moving the fuck out.
If you have your pharmacy here, Safeway will transfer all of the records to another location.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Safeway has 15 other locations in San Francisco, but come February 8th, this will not be available any longer.
It's because you've allowed the situation to get wildly out of control, and that is what happens. We've been talking about this forever. This is nothing, earth-shattering by any means. This is the inevitable response to just basically letting a bunch of criminals and people on drugs, homeless folks, just run through your community. This is what happens. Period. Full stop. Mic drop. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out. Safeway said it will close its 1335 Webster. Yep, we got that. One Garda World private security guard who spoke on condition of being anonymous estimated the store loses $7,000 a day to shoplifters. Why would you keep the store open? I think we need to do more to prevent this kind of thing from happening. Really? Because we've been saying, hey, why would you, run a store? Why would you run a business in a community that has such lack of regard for public safety? You wouldn't, So many of these businesses are just stuck.
Yeah, you know who has like all of the good shit? Who do you think can get their food delivered? Who do you think can afford to like drive out to wherever the hell, Whole Foods, buy their food? Who do you think has the gated communities? Who has like the big gate at their house? Who has the private security? It's the rich people. They don't give a fuck about this shit. And they're taking away all of the abilities for poorer people to have even a semblance of the same kind of existence that they have.
Because they've got everything invested in a physical location. It's really bad, the guard said. It's a problem. Commonly stolen items include cooking oil, meat, and liquor. The guard said thieves of staffers open locked liquor shelves, then take a bottle and run. I mean, it's just so blatant. We see that in Seattle, too. They'll also take an empty Safeway shopping cart, fill it with merchandise, try to walk out the front entrance, pretending they already paid. Oh, yeah, I self-checkout. I paid. I went to my local QFC last night because I needed to. They had an item that Trader Joe's doesn't have.
How are things with Arnold Schwarzenegger around the state? I don't really remember, honestly. Well, all I know is that things were nicer, and they've only gotten worse since like I was a kid. Like, it was nicer in California when I was a kid, and things never really got better. They only got worse, basically. And that's like my experience. Like I remember like going to San Francisco and it being like a good time. You don't have to worry about like your car getting immediately broken into. There wasn't like people cracked down in the streets like everywhere. Even like the town where I used to live, like my dad was like I remember as a kid just like going wherever the hell I wanted. Like we just take buses everywhere. Like me and my friends would go wherever we wanted. And now my dad's like, yeah, that place isn't safe. People get shot there all the time. Like, what the like, what? Like, I remember just going there casually with my friends and it was like, no problems. It's like things have gotten worse in California. And I haven't seen, again, I have never seen it get better, really. And there are some areas where it's been slower. The decay has been slower, but it's still decayed from like back then, if that makes sense. You can move to some pockets in California that are somewhat tolerable, right? But then again, it's tolerable. You're tolerating something awful.
Everything was just locked up. I mean, it was just an item that Trader Joe's doesn't have. And everything was just locked up. I mean, it was just, and if you don't know what QFC, it's like Kroger's or, it's standard big corporate grocery store. And I used to shop there a lot, but it's kind of like Bartell's or Walgreens. It's, these drugstores that just have everything.
Walgreens has really good. Wait, is it Walgreens? No, it's Rite Aid. Rite Aid has really good ice cream. I love Rite Aid ice cream.
Locked up. Such an annoying experience. They're taking stuff they can sell, the guard said. One Safeway worker who spoke on conditions being anonymous said many thieves walk through the self-checkout or steal in more clandestine ways. Reports of theft in Western Addition are roughly double the citywide average, according to the standard analysis of police data. Neighborhoods saw 493 larceny reports per 10,000 residents
still exists.
in the 12 months to November 10th, compared with 254 citywide during the same period. So larceny, stealing is double.
Did you guys see that California appointed someone for like fat acceptance? The San Francisco weight czar. They have a weight czar now. So they're paying somebody to tell everyone it's fine if you're fat, just be fat. They're literally paying someone to create anti-health situations. Yeah, like actually. And that's like taxpayer funded, right? Obviously, if they're going to have someone like that, I'm guessing they get paid. And I'm not saying like we should make fun of people, but praising it is a different story, I think, right? Like I'm not saying we should go out and like make fun of everybody that's fat. I don't think that's right. But it's also not right to say like, this is a good thing.
Still, here's the silver lining, right? Theft in the neighborhood is down 6% from last year. That's because nobody is reporting any of this
We can watch that video after this one.
Stuff anymore. They're just simply no longer reporting. And any crime stats in any of these big liberal cities, do not trust them because they are not
Again, I just want to be clear, just in case, but unless anyone tries to take me out of context, I'm not saying that we should go out and like be like unnecessarily mean to people. But that's a different thing. Disincentivizing people from being healthy and saying it's okay to be unhealthy. That's not true.
Because everybody has given up. Store managers, store employees, consumers, business owners, general public. Are you going to report that? No, because what are the cops going to do? They're going to do they're going to do absolutely nothing. They've got bigger fish to fry. You
know what's hilarious is the fucking drug companies probably love this shit. Dude, I really want to like schizo out about fucking drug companies. Dude, I swear to God, it's their fault. All of this shit is their fault, probably. Like, I'm like 90% sure that all of this shit is their fault. Like, all their propaganda trying to get people to be unhealthy so that they can make more money.
They've got, people being assaulted, people being raped, people, horrific car crashes. That's what the police, forces are doing in these big liberal cities. They're dealing with those, the high priority calls. They don't have the man.
Ozempic is so fucking expensive. It's so expensive. I was talking to Oka, who like knows about that stuff. Dude, it's so expensive. Holy fuck.
Power to be
1.6K per pen, says Oka. Dude, it's fucking around. Crazy.
Oh, yeah, he took a shopping cart full of goods. That's terrible. Let's get after him. Jimmy, come help me. We're going to go find these guys. No, that's just not the drill, right? Plans to shutter the store have been discussed since January, leading to intense backlash from the local community. Elderly and disabled people there claim another major store they can't get to. Align Real Estate said it plans to buy the site to build a project with one.
I could go on about that whole thing, about how fucked up it is. I didn't realize this until recently. It's absolutely, DC, okay, I'm back. It's absolutely fucked how much sugar is in our food. It's crazy. Actually, like if you look into it, like you actually look into like boxed food, there's even shit that you wouldn't think there was sugar in it, there's sugar in it. And it's like a ridiculous amount. It's crazy bad. I think the human body was only made to process, I think, 30 grams of fructose, I think, per day. It's like 30 grams or something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy bad. And then the problem is like this is a compounding issue, right? Just a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. This is just stuff that like I've looked up myself. But it's a chain reaction, because what happens is you have like all this like high sugar shit, right? And then you eat the high sugar shit, which like increases like your insulin, which is also not good for you. Like having like a fuck ton of insulin in your body is also not good for you. It's a chain reaction. And like if I'm insulin, that was a growth hormone. Was that insulin? That was a growth hormone. I think it's one of them. I think it's insulin. So like what happens is if you have a fuck ton of insulin, it fucks up your arteries. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Again, I'm not a doctor. I think that's what the case was that insulin fucks up your arteries, which fucks you up even more. And then now you need more insulin because you're taking more sugar, and then your whole balance just gets fucked. And then it fucks up your gut health, and then you're just destroyed basically at that point.
1,000 homes and ground floor retail, but has not said whether it intends to lease the space to another.
Right. You get insulin resistant, so your body needs more insulin and more insulin and more and more. Fucking Kylo Ren.
And ground floor retail, but has not said whether it intends to lease the space to another grocery store. This is a property that's in play, right? Sorry, didn't have the article on there. This is a property that's in play. And guess what? When that happens, kind of all bets are off. And, corporate says, no, not worth it. Here's some wild stuff. This is from Hot Air. People threaten employees with guns, knives, and sticks. They flung food, screamed, fought, and tried to defecate.
Holy fucking shit, bro. Holy shit.
On the floor, according to records of 568.
By the way, 568 emergency calls. That doesn't include like the kind of more petty stuff, because they probably at this point are like, fuck it. If someone's just stealing like a carrot or like stealing like, I don't know, like a shampoo, they're probably like, fuck it. Fuck it. We have bigger fish to fry. So 568 emergency calls over 13 months doesn't include all that shit. San Francisco, Cremo. This is San Francisco.
Emergency calls.
I'm telling you, Crimbo, San Francisco is absolutely fucked. I've been there. I've been there like my whole life because I grew up like in that, like in the vicinity. So like my family was like, oh, let's go to San Francisco. That'd be like our night on the town. So like I've been there. So I've been there like throughout different phases in my life, and it has gotten so much worse. I haven't even gone there in like the last couple of years because I'm just like, fuck that place, like 100% fuck that place. So I haven't even been trying to go there. Thanks for the follow, Caffeine Factory. Thank you. So yeah, I haven't even been trying to go there, but I'll tell you, the last time I went there, the streets smelled like piss. They all smelled like piss. I saw a guy collapse in front of me and start tweaking out, and I saw another guy with shit hanging out of his ass. All in like one trip to San Francisco.
13 months. Many depicts of 568 emergency calls over 13 months. Many depicting scenes of mayhem. Male with machete is back. The report on 911 call states another security guard was just assaulted by a dude with a machete. Yes. Man with a 4-inch knife attacked several security guards.
People threaten employees with guns, by the way. San Francisco, like guns are all illegal to carry there.
Then
my mom says if you drive into San Francisco, your car window will get broken in a matter of minutes. Yeah, we can watch a report on that too.
Sprayed more store employees with foam from a fire extinguisher. Police describe theft as rampant as Whole Foods, with thieves walking out with armfuls of alcohol, at least at the start. After 250 shopping handbaskets were stolen, the company restocked with 50 more. This was a description of Whole Foods that lasted 1 year. Last year, a brand new Whole Foods in the city closed over just
Albal says, believe it or not, Leaf, I heard a guy on out of Discord talk about San Francisco just after Trump was elected with a new mayor. There's a new mayor going in San Francisco right now. I have no idea about that. I don't follow San Francisco politics anymore. The thugs were gone almost overnight. I mean, like, all you have to do to think about that is that when the Chinese when Xi Jinping went to San Francisco, they cleaned the place up. They full stop, like, kick out all the homeless people, like, clean up the streets. They cleaned all of that shit up overnight, and then now they don't give a fuck again.
Over a year. So this kind of stuff is going on all over San Francisco. More concentrated in some of these neighborhoods. Closer you are to the Tenderloin, you know, it's
Tenderloin again is the worst place. It's the worst place in San Francisco.
It's anybody's guess what's going on there, because you just got a bunch of nut jobs running around that are whacked out on drugs, that are homeless, that I'm just going to steal this because I can sell this, all these food items, can sell them on these open air drug markets that are just.
I lived in San Francisco before when I was a kid. God bless, I don't remember anything.
All over, and you get your money for your next fix. Just doesn't take that much money. I had somebody, try and tell me on one of the comments on one of the YouTube videos that the poor people, the homeless people, don't have money for drugs.
I used to go there and get croissants at the boulangerie.
They just don't have enough money for drugs. So that person tells me through their comment that they don't understand what the homeless and the drug situation
Merry
is.
Christmas, Linda.
You can get a hit of fentanyl for as low as $1. That's right, $1. In Portland, you can get hits for 50 cents.
So wait, is the reason why fentanyl is so popular is because it's so cheap? Is that why? I don't know anything about fentanyl, by the way. I don't do drugs. Is it because fentanyl is the cheapest drug? Is that why everyone's doing it? Is it like the box wine of drugs? Cheap and crazy strong. All right, got it. Mm-hmm.
Being told. It's a couple of bucks tops and you can get a hit. So, you steal a bunch of food and you go sell it and you get your money.
Ask an expert like Mari Ian. Okay, I'll ask her right now. Mari. Merry Christmas, Mari. By the way, how much is a hit of fentanyl street value? I'll see if she answers.
You can be high for literally days. So this equation is not, it makes absolute
research purposes
sense. Hey, so this equation is not, it makes absolute sense. And it's because in these communities where you've allowed this to happen, where you've allowed drug use, open air drug use, open air stolen good market.
By the way, not a glowy. Oh my God, Mari's typing. Guys, she's typing. Hold up. Oh, she's typing something long. Merry Christmas, Leaflit. I was asking chat how much fentanyl was, and they said you have the info. Holy shit. Oh man. You guys should check out Mari. Does she still have _EN? Does she still have _EN, or she's just Mari now? People are always changing their thing. Yeah, go check out Mari. She's cool. Dude, that's so fucking cheap. No wonder people are fucking addicted. Dude, that's crazy. 50 cents? Dude, no wonder people are getting freaking addicted. I thought they were expensive. I thought drugs were like super expensive, and that's why everyone was going broke doing them. So that's why people are getting high off of fentanyl, because it's so cheap. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy, bro. Only cocaine, heroin, morphine are super expensive. Wasn't like weed also expensive? Again, like I actually don't know anything about drugs. I've never done drugs in my life. I've never smoked. And contrary to popular belief, I don't smoke. I know everyone thinks I smoke because of my voice, but I've never smoked before in my whole life. I've never smoked weed, never smoked a cigarette. I barely drink alcohol. So I don't do any of that stuff. Weed isn't expensive. They go broke doing them by doing all of them. It's just OD. Some used to be cheaper with some legalization. So it's like basically the problem with fentanyl is that it's cheap. It's cheap. It has a high chance of killing you, and it's incredibly addictive. It's very powerful. That's fucking wild. People think I smoke. Yeah, it's because of how I sound. Oh shit. Congrats on I would say congrats on becoming a minority for your free oppression points, but Chinese doesn't count. So now it's gonna be harder for you to get into college. I said 新年快乐.
allowed shoplifting. Hey, Proposition 47, this is so good this to happen. We've allowed drug use, open air drug use, open air stolen good market. And you've allowed shoplifting. Hey, Proposition 47, this is so much progress. In addition to inflation-fueled bills and declining foot traffic, the small grocery...
I only know Xinyan Kuaila because of Ni Hao Kai Lan, the little cartoon. It's like Dora the Explorer, but like for Chinese people.
Delhi has suffered from rampant crimes, including near-daily shoplifting.
And she always said Xinyan Kuaila.
3 break-ins in the past couple of years, talking about a small Delhi. He blames city officials for the increased crime, slamming law enforcement and city leaders for being unresponsive and overly permissive. Just let it happen. Just let it go. And then you've got all these folks saying, what about the elderly? What about the poor? Yeah, well, is who this impacts the most. It just is. So, if you want to protect the elderly, if you want to protect the poor, if you want to protect all those folks, you need to get some politicians in place that respect law and order. Not progressives, not Democrats, because we've seen what happens there. Democrat politicians right now, they're all worked up over these massive deportations. They are literally worked up that a massive amount of convicted criminals or criminals with pending charges or folks that shouldn't be in the United States legally anyway, they don't have a right to be here. They are worked up that those folks are going to get deported. Yeah, because that's who, in this first big go around of deportations, that's who United States is under Trump is going to go after.
That's the other thing too, with like the whole immigration thing, is a lot of the resources are going towards that. And there are a lot of Americans right now that are having problems. Like, again, like the people in San Francisco, there's a lot of homeless people, right? And like, we could be diverting resources towards like taking care of Americans, but instead we allow like, rampant immigration. And then when people get here, we're like, oh yeah, like we'll get you like a hotel room and food and stuff like that. And like, we shouldn't have to do that. We should be taking care of our own people. And that's like some of the argument behind that is like, we are not in a position to actually care for other people. I'm not saying like it's a bad thing to care about other people. It's not that it's a bad thing to care for people. It's that we're in a really bad spot right now for that. And that we need to use that money right now for our own stuff. And that's why a lot of the same people who are criticizing not helping out Americans and like instead like putting that resources towards illegal immigration, a lot of people that have that same sentiment are also simultaneously against like foreign wars, for instance.
Not the kids, not the families, not the adults that are here legitimately, not the people with jobs working away. That's not who's going to be emphasized. It's criminals. But the Democrats don't want to tell you that, do they? No, they want to focus on, it's just going to be terrible and horrible. We need to fight against them. Well, if you're fighting to keep criminals, illegal alien criminals in the country, I'm not going to join you on that one. That's just not going to be part of my message.
Yep.
Because I believe in the opposite. You get these people out of here. Get them out. They don't belong here.
Again, you got to take care of your own house before you can take care of other people. It's the same thing with like, when you're on a fucking plane and they're like, when there's an emergency, you got to like put your fucking oxygen mask on first before you put it on other people. It's kind of like that. Sure. And again, I'm not saying it's I think it's a virtue to like take care of other people. That's a good thing. We need to make sure that like we're in a position that we can do that. And like, I want us to create a position where we have such a surplus that we can actually afford to like, help out other people that need help. I definitely think that's a virtue to like help people out that are less fortunate than yourselves, whether that's, people from your own country or other countries. But we have to first build up that wealth to be able to do it.
And we've tossed them out in the past, and we're going to toss them out in the near future. So, Tom Homan, do your thing. Do your thing. In the absence of law enforcement, people deal drugs right outside Buy-Side's doors, and serial shoplifters operate with no consequences. These guys think our store is a pantry where they can take whatever they want. We've been spit at. We've been knives pulled on us. We've been called names. So,
it's terrible.
This is
terrible.
This is absolutely nothing new that this is going on. It's just that it's continuing to happen, and you've got fewer and fewer stores available in these communities. San Francisco Safeway with new receipt scanning security gates.
Yeah, and then they're gonna start robbing they're gonna start robbing mom and pop shops now and like charging them for security. Like, it's gonna be crazy.
continues to see high rates of daily theft despite the increased shoplifting measures. I'd say 60 to 100 thefts on my shift alone, says the security.
What? Wait, what? 60 to 100 thefts on my shift alone? Holy shit.
Security guard at the 33th Mission Street, the Safeway that's closing down. 60 to 100 thefts on my shift alone. What is that? An 8-hour shift? You got 100 thefts? Can you imagine 100 thieves in 8 hours? That works out to one every 5 minutes. One every 5 minutes. Kind of reminds me of the story of the young lady who, for her OnlyFans page, I saw this story on Tim Pool. I'd seen the story as well. But she decided that she was going to bed a man, 101 men within a 24-hour time period. So she gave them each 2 to 5 minutes to...
I saw that video. Only some of it. I want to watch the whole video.
Do their thing. Some didn't finish and she felt bad. But yeah, she got to 100.
Dude, holy fuck, she got like a fucking timer. She's like, all right, 5 minutes, go. Holy shit.
And she says she does remember more than like 10 of them. Shocking, right? But you've got shoplifters come in at about the same rate every 5 minutes as she had young men coming in and doing their thing. So one every 5 minutes coming in and stealing something from the store. Yeah, that is.
But like, hold on. If you did it that way, wouldn't like okay, guys, hold on. Isn't that kind of gay though? Hear me out. I know you're fucking a girl, but isn't that kind of gay? Because like, if you're fucking a girl when she has like 20 dudes come inside of her, isn't that cum like getting all over your dick? So isn't that kind of gay? Oh, they were right. Sorry. I don't know that much about sex because I'm so pure.
One every 5 minutes coming in and stealing something from the store. Yeah, that is not sustainable. And when corporate has the, incentive of, well, this store is in play for being developed, let's go ahead and let's just close this bad boy down because we are losing so much money. No one can make a profit under those circumstances, and yet, knowing the store was on the way out, San Francisco Police Department still couldn't do anything about it. Shoplifters don't get caught. The city just let fail. Safeway points out, this is the corporate speak, that they have 15 other stores in the city and they hope to continue serving customers at those locations. But the thieves will just start shoplifting at the remaining stores. They just move on to the next store. They don't care. It's no sweat off their back, right? I mean, they're just like, a little shoplifting, a misdemeanor charge. Who cares? It's not a big deal because you're not prosecuting these folks. You're not doing anything to push back on this scenario, on this situation. This has gotten wildly out of control. We all know it's a thing. San Francisco is going to lose stores. Seattle's losing stores. Portland has lost stores. And by stores, I mean restaurants, businesses, you name it. It's just happening. And it typically happens in certain neighborhoods because other neighborhoods don't put up with the nonsense, right? So unless the city's newly elected mayor enhance the police force, change the city's usual approach to rampant theft, this won't be the last supermarket that closes citing theft and safety issues. This is an inherent issue. This is a systemic issue in these big liberal-run, Democrat-run cities. And folks get all worked up when a store closes in the neighborhood. Well, maybe if you didn't vote the way you did, maybe different leadership, maybe if you didn't, vote to defund the police, if you didn't go down all these ridiculous roads, maybe if you weren't quite so progressive, the police, if you didn't go down all these ridiculous roads, maybe if you weren't quite so progressive, you'd still have a grocery store. Weird how that cause and effect works, right? Yeah.
Weird.
For people that live in red communities, this is not in question. It's just a thing. We don't really allow that kind of shoplifting to happen here. It's going to happen everywhere, but at the rates we're talking about, that's why these stores get closed down. It's the rates that it happens at. And when people get arrested in other communities, they actually get prosecuted and they might do some jail time. And that's the pushback that a progressive community like San Francisco, like the Fillmore District, like the Tenderloin. Oh, yeah, let's just create this drug utopia, and I'm sure it'll all work out. Mm-hmm. Well, it is working out with one less Safeway come, February 8th, 2025? All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. Catch up with you in the next store closure.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.